Dave Soleil, Second Amendment activist in Colorado, joins us on the program. Dave, thank you for your time, sir.
Hi, Cam. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. All right, listen. First of all, we saw the votes in the Senate committees yesterday. Party line votes, all of them. I understand in the full Senate there are 2 Democrats who have said that they are opposed to these measures. You need 3 to block these bills. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. That's my understanding as well. It's uncertain whether or not the governor will sign all of them, but certainly some of them, and that they're all bad. That's not much consolation.
Well, no, absolutely right. And so, look, obviously, if these bills get through, I imagine we're looking at court challenges. But in the meantime, election year is next year in Colorado. But you and a lot of other folks aren't waiting. You're trying to launch recall drives?
Yeah, to our knowledge, it's the first time that's been attempted, and it is a daunting task, to say the least. We'll need 10,500 valid signatures from his district. That's Representative Michael McLaughlin, Democrat of Durango, who campaigned on a Second Amendment supporting slate, but is anything but. I think what it boils down to for us is, we're a group of voters that have come together, understanding that the ruling class, the ruling elite, will run roughshod as long as we let them, and we don't intend to do that.
So, Dave, what has the reaction been from gun owners and constituents? Because you're starting with Representative Mike McLaughlin, is that right?
Yes, there's another petition being filed today as well, I believe, for John Morse of Colorado Springs. He won in the Senate. He won an even narrower margin there. But the bottom line is that gun owners are livid, and as you know, that crosses party lines. We had a town hall meeting here a couple of weeks ago that was standing room only, around 400 people in a room that supposedly holds 200. And to say that Mr. McLaughlin was disheveled and visibly shaken, I think, would be an understatement.
Really? I mean, do they really, Dave? Do they really have the impression, like when Biden came in and said, "Listen, the American people are behind you on this. This time is different." Do they really believe him?
Oh, yeah. Well, let me put it this way: the senator from our district, who's rock solid on the issue, told me that depending on where in her district, she was getting emails and phone calls 20 and 30 to 1 against. McLaughlin stood on the floor of the Capitol and basically stated outright that his constituents were against these bills 10 to 1, but he intended to vote for them anyway. So on the basis that he was elected to represent us, that's part of the basis for our recall. But I think it just goes to show that the ruling class is in they're legends in their own minds. They believe their own spin. I'm sure that Vice President Biden made him all kinds of promises about a flourishing career in politics should he vote the right way, but the voters of his district will not stand for it, whether we're successful in this recall or whether we bounce him out in 14 months.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing. I mean, gun owners have long memories here. I know I got an email earlier today from somebody who said that Governor Hickenlooper was on a radio show, and it said something about, well, I'm not really concerned about running for re-election because Colorado doesn't have a lot of gun owners. Have you heard that comment, Dave?
No, I haven't heard that. So, well, I hope he isn't concerned about re-election because he won't need to be.
Yeah, it is amazing. I mean, the turnout we saw, not just yesterday, which really was incredible. I mean, when the news media is forced to report that the sounds of the car horns honking can be heard inside the hearing rooms, the small plane flying overhead with a banner that says, "Hick, don't take our guns." The gun control advocates would love to have that kind of turnout, Dave, that they could point to and say, "See, look. This is genuine. This is real. We're not just manufacturing this stuff." And yet, in state after state, time after time, what we are seeing are these huge numbers of gun owners showing up to speak out. And I understand yesterday there was some consternation about the fact that a lot of these folks went to the Capitol and had their time to speak limited.
I have a good friend that was there, and he was there until 10 o'clock last night, and basically told me that no one but the experts, like the space cadet Mark Kelly, pro-Second Amendment person that he is, were allowed to speak. So my understanding is they didn't really take comments at all from the gallery.
Not at all.
That's what I was told.
You know, Dave, when you see how this has gone in Colorado, and you know, I understand that there was a woman yesterday actually who, when the campus carry ban was being debated, a senator was in tears because of the testimony that she had heard from people like Amanda Collins, and yet she said, "Well, I promised I was going to vote yes on this." So she, despite having heard this compelling testimony, despite having heard from these women, she went ahead and said, "Oh, I promised." She didn't say who she had promised, but she said, "I promised I'd vote yes." So she went right ahead and did that. I mean, this really seems like, I don't want to say the fix is in, but I mean, it really seems like the fix is in, Dave.
Well, it does. These are the same people that take their self-defense advice from Vice President Biden, and as you know, that leaves something to be desired. But yeah, I think that's very much the case. In the town hall meeting, Senator Roberts, who represents us in the Senate, said outright that she's done everything that she can possibly imagine to do to try to slow this thing down, to open up a dialogue, et cetera, among her associates in the Senate, and she's been told by the leadership that there will be no conversation. So, yes, the fix is in. I think the only way to respond is to put heat on politicians. As they say, politicians feel or they see the light once they feel the heat. I hope that's the case. Part of our strategy was to file our recall petition today at the state capitol. To my knowledge, that was done. The second petition, it's my understanding, is being filed to recall Senator Morse from Colorado Springs. And our hope is that these legislators that had tears in their eyes reconsider their promises, if you will.
Yeah.
Whether we're successful in that remains to be seen. If not, we have a pretty daunting task in a district this large. In the wintertime, we'll have 60 days once the clock starts ticking to gather the signatures that we need. We've been receiving help from all around the state. I'd invite your listeners to go to coloradoaccountability.com and see what they can do to support this, because Colorado, as you know, is getting national attention. If a western state like Colorado with a strong Second Amendment history is ready for gun control, we all are, right?
Yeah.
So that's the basis. We'll need volunteers to circulate petitions. It's going to be quite an effort, and we hope to be successful.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Dave, thank you for coming on the program today, and really appreciate your time. We wish you the best of luck and everything that's going on out there in Colorado.
Thank you very much, Cam.